Say hey.
Hey.
Hey, I'm Laura. Welcome or welcome back. This is Mason.
Hello.
He is
A human.
This is Mason. He's my partner.
Yep.
I want to tell y'all a little bit about how we met and our relationship and talk about what it's like to be new parents.
Yeah.
I asked people on my Instagram if they had any questions for us because I told them I was going to do this video, and a few people did send in some questions. I'm going to sprinkle those in throughout, and I guess let's just get started.
Let's do it. Okay.
So, do you want to tell them how... So, do you want to tell them how we met?
Sure. I transferred schools during 5th grade. The start of 5th grade year, I was at a different school, or a whole new school. And Laura sat catty corner in front of me to like my left. She had a bob haircut, which was really cute. She was always very proper. She always had really good posture.
Anything besides the physical that you liked about me?
Not much. No. She slapped me in the face one day because I was telling a joke to Sebastian, my friend that sat right behind her next to me. It was some stupid joke, and like it was like, "Hey, baby, blah 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 blah," and she turned around and smacked me because she thought I was talking to her.
Feminist icon.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, but I basically harbored this big crush on Laura forever. But yeah, we met in 5th grade.
Yeah. And then I think it was around middle school that we became like really close friends.
Yeah. Out of the blue, one summer, Laura just started texting me, or she called me, like the Drake song. She called me on my cell phone. And
Late night.
It wasn't late night, but it was just so weird because like I was here, like my crush is calling me on the phone, and she's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I proceeded to furiously pace around my my front yard during that whole conversation, and then we just started talking more and more.
He was actually one of the first people I came out to as bisexual.
Yep, it's chill. It's cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't bothered by it.
Well, why would you be?
Yeah, why would I be?
So let's see. Okay, so how did we start dating?
Yeah, basically, I mean, from the onset of our friendship, like I was kind of always like, you know, my primary motive was like, this is somebody that I want to be with, right? But I did enjoy our friendship and was constantly like pushing the boundaries, you know, asking her to like scratch my arm in history class.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just always like trying to like initiate, not in a creepy way, like not like forcefully, but you know, just kind of more in a whiny, come on, scratch my arm.
And I didn't mind because I was like very much a snuggly kind of person. Big into hugs. I was big into giving people affection.
Yeah. And
he was someone that was my best friend. I told him literally everything there was to know about me because I felt safe with him as a friend. And I was happy to scratch his arm.
Life happens. We dated people here and there. Laura would be in more long-term situations than I would be.
Yeah.
And there was this one night. So I got into the theater because Laura was in there. I did that a junior year. There was this production of Dracula that was happening at this time. So I come in late. I'm like attendant number 2, you know.
And
so
I'm Lucy.
She's Lucy, so she's like one of the leads, and she's like all gorgeous in like this red dress and these curlers, and you know,
baby.
Well, the curlers were out, but they curled her
My hair was curly. I'll
Yeah.
see if I can scrounge up a picture. I think I've seen some stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, it's just all like red dress, red lipstick. I don't know if your hair was red at that time.
Kind of, yeah. It was like an auburn kind of situation.
We do this whole Dracula thing, and like the theater crew was kind of a tight-knit type of deal. There was like this party that was held at one of Laura's other best friend's house for like the rap party, I guess. It was like a movie night type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I had brought this person that I was dating at the time,
And that's when I realized.
Well, we were snuggling on the couch. Like, I was getting some good cuddles in. And so, yeah.
And I felt... It was hard for me because Mason, I was such good friends with Mason. I had a lot of feelings about him, but I didn't see them as, like, romantic feelings.
I was in the friend dungeon, as she referred.
But then when I saw him with her, I was like, oh, like, I feel kind of jealous about this. Like, I think I like him. Like him.
That cost me $85 to rent that paid actor to come to come cuddle with me on the couch.
No. But I didn't say anything about it that day.
No. I didn't find out much later from my best friend at the time. Just offhandedly on the way home was like, he was dating one of the people that Laura told that night, who actually ended up staying the night.
Yeah, Sophie.
Sophie. And yeah, I find out like months later, and obviously I'm like, how did you keep this to yourself? Like, how did you, like, this is, but anyways, yeah, so that whole thing happened, and then we awkwardly just kind of
got closer and closer.
Yeah, like, it was just like there was never
hanging out all the time. Like, we were not the best. We would like smoke cigarettes
on the roof
of the theater.
Okay.
But we would also like color each other's Converse with Sharpies. That was really sweet.
Yeah. And
then eventually
it was just kind of like we did this whole like,
will they, won't they? No.
Yeah, will they? Well, no. It was just like
that's so dramatic.
Will they or won't they? No, it was just like it came down to somebody just came up to us while we were sitting there, like, "Are you guys
Dylan.
dating?"
Yeah,
Dylan, and like I'm like,
and I'm like, yeah.
So we were dating.
Yeah.
And then
it was awesome.
Yeah.
And we made some wonderful memories with each other. We definitely had our ups and downs. There was a lot of learning that we needed to do about ourselves and what we wanted in a relationship and how to treat each other.
Yeah, just how to be a partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were together for
about 3 years.
About 3 years. Yeah.
The year after high school, we ended up
breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was the one that did the breaking up, and I
regretted it for the rest of her life.
I missed you for the rest, you know, for a while. And I dated a woman for 6 years.
An older woman.
And an older woman. She was 10 years older, a very good person. It just didn't work out.
So then I was there as a backup. Like
no.
No.
How we got back together.
Yeah, so
I'm a writer, as you'll know. Or maybe you don't if this is your first time here, which, again, welcome. I started writing a poetry collection about my life and what that had been like so far. Up until then, I was in my mid-20s, and a lot of stuff was coming up about him, and so I ended up writing a lot of poetry about Mason. And I posted it online, and I get a comment one day, and his username is so obviously him.
Because, you know, if you're gonna do something, like, have like the layer of anonymity, but then also, you know, kind of be like
it wasn't his name, but in the name I knew that it was him.
Yeah, it's like old school callback to, because it was always like, we loved the show Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, and so there was this character, Peppermint Larry, who had Candy Wife, and Candy Wife was always just like this revered, you know, person to Peppermint Larry, and like, even though
she's made out of candy.
She's made out of candy. Like, her hair was always different colors, which was kind of like Laura, and Laura's so sweet. So it's just like there were parallels to it. So like that was kind of like the whole thing in high school.
And so he commented on some of my poetry, and he was like really salty about it. And I had to fire back, like, I don't think you understand what I meant here.
I didn't.
Like, that I missed him.
I did. Yeah,
and
I
I
didn't
loved
catch that.
him. And I don't know. So we started talking back and forth, debating about what my poetry meant, which is like,
I wasn't debating. I wasn't telling her what her poetry meant.
No. It was just your interpretation was not how I meant.
Yeah, but she ended up revising it, and I was like, okay. So this is 6 years later. Like all of this is going down. Like I was a sad boy for the longest time, and I dated, had relationships, but I was always just aching like on the inside.
Because he missed you.
Because I missed you. And so it was just like a whole thing. And so I saw it, and I was like, I was always interested in Laura, and like there'd be but it was just so painful. So like anytime I'd like try and just check in over the years, it'd be like, oh, that sucks, not for her. I mean, if she's doing well, good for her, but
yeah,
it just had this,
it was painful.
Yeah, it was painful. And so I read this one poem, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. But yeah, I misinterpreted it,
and I set you straight.
She actually revised the poem to clarify things. But yeah, it was.
And so we started talking again.
Yeah, and writing poetry back
to each
forth,
other,
yeah.
which is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
It's what that is.
And then we realized like we wanted to be together.
Yeah.
And like we always knew it, but we were ready to be together again.
Yeah. It was the craziest. So we met up again. So we'd been talking, texting, and poems back and forth, and so we're like, okay, well, hey, let's meet up. And so we go to this park, and I get there first because I just have extreme anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm also nervous, shaking like a leaf.
So yeah, that's really the thing I want to comment on. Like, so we were smoking cigarettes at the time, and literally, like, I'm about to have a panic attack, and then I see Laura pull up, and then she comes over,
and I go to give you a hug, and I like had somehow forgotten how much taller you are than me.
Yeah.
And when I gave you a hug, I was like, oh my god, like I remember this feeling.
Oh yeah.
And it was
weird.
Yeah.
I mean, after we parted and stuff, and we had hugged, and like it was so like I could feel, it's like your body remembers, and like I could still feel the whole, like the hug. I could feel her body and like what that felt like at least an hour after hugging her, because my body was like, oh
yeah,
shit,
that.
This is that person that so
that you've known since you were 10.
Yeah, but we were shaking, like, oh my god, like Laura's hand was like,
I was going to like
this.
smoke a cigarette, like
Me too. I mean, it was just it was so awkward and so like nerve-wracking, but
then we got back together.
We did.
I guess we should answer a question, because this kind of falls into our relationship and how we developed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got back together. It was beautiful. Is there anything more you want to say on that? Just like the beginning of it. Well, I mean, of course, new relationship energy, but you add that it's an old relationship.
Yeah, like,
and everything
years of longing, like,
and catching up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's beautiful, and I was so grateful. And who'd have thunk that we're here now with the baby?
Never in my life.
Have a really cool relationship. I felt that it was important for me. I'd been a serial monogamist for all my life. I dated a few people. I mean, 2.
Yeah, she's like
I'm a Taurus. So
she's a Taurus.
Yeah. But like I'd never really dated, and I was in my mid-20s, and I felt like I'd really missed out on that. And when we were in high school, we would be with other people together. And so when we got back together, I expressed that it was important to me that we continue to explore being with other people while being together. Oh, which brings me to our first question. See, that was good.
That was great.
I had to make a...
That was a good transition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So our first question is... Are you about to yawn in the middle of me?
I was actually stifling a burp.
So our first question is, how you started a poly relationship. Sorry, and I burped. Our first question is, how did you start a poly relationship? What was that initial combo like? So we talked about it in the abstract when we first got together.
And it was also, so I feel like it's different, you know, than having something kind of solidified, or like it wasn't adding a poly layer after the fact. This was being kind of baked into the initial. We
started with the idea that it wasn't always going to be just us, and that we were open to other people as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then there came the time that we were interested in exploring that.
Yeah.
After, you know, we'd been together for a year, I'm gonna say, or
several months at least.
Yeah, close to a year, several months. We were like, okay, we're ready to date other people together. And I know a lot of people do things all kinds of ways. There's so many ways to be poly, but for us, we want to have experiences together with other people. Yeah, it's always together. And so yeah, we were ready to do that. And the conversation was basically like
the conversation initially was just kind of like there was a happenstance encounter with one person.
Someone had asked us if we were interested in that.
Yeah, so that just kind of came down to like a...
Sure, yeah, do it.
Yeah, we tried it out.
It was cool. And then from there, we were like, okay, this is something that we want to do more regularly, because we both really enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like it just takes time. A lot of it was, you know, we were just new. And
we were figuring it out, and we had a lot of hiccups, and...
Oh, yeah.
Dealing with feelings of jealousy, and him. That's...
Yeah, it's all my fault.
No, Mason.
No. I mean, this is... No.
But yeah, you did struggle with jealousy. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's such a normal part of it. Like, there's...
Well, you know, yes.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Mason,
and
I struggle with jealousy. I mean, you know, to the point where, I mean, yeah, there were quite a few long talks, and a lot of that, you know,
it's so much conversation, so much talking about it.
Yeah. Well, you know, from a point of view of like my whole deal was just that it was so difficult during some instances where, you know, it's just like kind of getting triggered, right? It's just like, here it is, this person that I've longed for, and, you know, like I love so much, and like just so grateful for the opportunity, just like the terrifying fear of that being undone, which there's no reason why it would have been undone, but that just in that period of time, like I just had this, you know, this really like knee-jerk reaction at points.
Fear.
Yeah, it's just fear. It's fear-based, you know. So yeah, there was definitely... Laura got jealous a couple times, though.
I did.
So I will say that.
I did, and it shocked me.
Yeah. This Queen of Compersion was feeling a little... She's like, whoa, hey.
Yeah, and I felt jealousy, and I had to work through those feelings. But you know what? I found it rewarding to have to deal with that, to work through it. I like to be challenged. I'm always striving for my mental health and, like, how I operate mentally to get better and better.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd about it, I guess. And
real big nerd.
Yeah. And so polyamory has given me such an opportunity to get to know myself better, to improve my communication and standing up for myself. And I think that it's made our relationship stronger because we've had so many conversations and we've learned how to communicate in more gentle ways with each other.
Yep.
And the people we've met have been so awesome.
Fantastic.
We've made some wonderful friends because even though like not all relationships last, we have some lasting friendships. For sure.
Well, I mean, lasting love, you know, you find in...
Because I feel that once you love someone, you always love them, but just in different ways.
Overall, I mean, we're not practicing right now, but I mean...
Oh, and let's get into why we're not practicing right now. So, we stopped...
Laura has hemorrhoids.
No, I don't.
She doesn't.
If I did, I'd tell you.
Please keep that in.
Maybe.
Okay.
What was I saying? I love meeting new people and learning about them, and it is such an intimate way to get to know people, I guess.
Yep. Very intimate.
Well, and you also get to try all kinds of new things or like new activities. But no, like you end up doing things or going to different places that you hadn't even thought of going before, or
yeah, just getting a window into someone else's interests, you know, that would be different than yours and pretty freaking cool in some cases.
Absolutely.
We've had all manner of interactions with others, you know, from short periods of time to like a pretty long extended relationship with one. Shout out, you know who you are. Love you.
Love you.
But you know.
And so we had stopped because I was trying to get pregnant. And then I got pregnant. And we were definitely not up for having extra people in our, you know, we weren't in the mindset to be doing all that.
Definitely not. Yeah.
And now that I'm postpartum and I'm not breastfeeding,
we're taking applications.
No, like I would like to get back to it soon, honestly. Like, but like I needed to feel comfortable in my new body again. Like I love all my shapes and my curves and new textures. I loved my body pregnant and I love my body now. And I don't know, I feel at home in it again. And so soon I'll be ready. And what about you? How do you feel?
I don't know. I've got definitely more of a dad bod now. And as a former...
remember, we're body positive on this channel.
We are body positive, of course. As somebody that struggled with their weight throughout their childhood,
yeah,
I got some feelings about where I'm at right now. But at the same time, like I'm pretty soft for Violet, and that's nice. You know that she's got like a good little cushion to lay on.
Absolutely.
But
and I think you're so attractive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that you're attractive.
Why, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate your appreciation of that.
And I appreciate how you appreciate my appreciation of that.
Oh. You know, really, I could only appreciate
Shut up.
Okay. I'm interested. The pregnancy, you know, it took out. I mean, we're getting back into, you know, like physical intimacy and everything like that. Mm-hmm. It's been really nice.
Yeah, I talked about that on my 3-month update video. How like we're back to being intimate again, and it feels really good to connect like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we had missed it.
Definitely. There was I had a lot of difficulty in my mind separating, you know, like the pregnancy thing. It's just like I knew I could not know that Violet was in there, you know, and you know
that was tough for you.
It was hard to stay in the mindset of like,
yeah, and it was also hard for me sometimes because like Violet moved around a lot.
Yeah.
So it was really hard for me to like put that aside for a second to separate I don't know. It was tough.
But yeah, we're back to that, and I mean, eventually, yeah. I mean,
but it's not as scary, or like it doesn't have to be as long as you are communicating so much, and you are really understanding that you don't own the other person and that you want them to experience new things and be happy, and if you do it together or you do it separately, if you have a strong relationship, like if you're doing it as a couple.
And I caught it. So
okay,
let's cut all of what you just said. Sorry, I mean it's just
okay.
Because like the water's so muddy. Oh no. Let me start over. Cut all of that. Okay. Part of what helped me kind of move into polyamory. So whenever Laura and I were talking about this initially and getting to this idea of like what we would be doing in the future and what that might look like for us and how we would approach it. In my mind, we'd been with other people, right? And so it made so much more sense to me. It's just like, okay, well, I still love her despite all of these different interactions that I've had personally.
You still loved me even though you had been with other people.
Yeah. I feel that had that not been the case and Laura had come to me, we had been together the entire time. She's like, hey, look, I really want to try this polyamory thing. I think it would have been a lot more difficult for me as a person, like there's still, everybody can grow, right? There's further that we can go as people all the time.
Yeah.
For those of you that are in relationships and maybe there is kind of a comfort level that's been built, it takes a lot of conversations. And it's one of those things where if you're interested in it, it is really cool. It's difficult,
but rewarding.
I mean, yeah, it's really, really, really good in some aspects,
and good for each of us. Like, I feel like it's been really good for him in a lot of ways, and really good for me in a lot of maybe different ways. We get to share and and not everyone does it together, but
yeah. I mean, some people, they just
do it separately, which is awesome. But we get to share the experience, but also have our own new experiences. Yeah,
so
and that's really cool. And I get to see different sides of him with his interactions with different people that I can grow to love, and he gets to see me in the same way. Like, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I probably want to get back to it sooner than he does.
Probably.
And we're going to have to talk about that.
It's okay. I mean, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
There's no, like, hard lines drawn. Or I don't think that there can be hard lines drawn in this relationship.
No, everything's negotiable.
Yeah. Always a price.
No, don't say
well,
that.
I mean, No,
like, there's always a compromise that we can make with each other.
Yeah.
I really value that.
Commitment, baby.
Yay. Okay. So now that we've talked about
hemorrhoids.
Shut up. Now that we've talked about how we met, what our relationship has been like so far, our polyamory journey, let's talk about Parenthood.
Let's talk about Violet.
Let's talk about that sweet baby Violet.